This episode is sponsored by Best Life Coaching Society.
Yeah. Listen, success is whatever you make it. If you want to be happy, you want to provide for your family.
Live.
You gotta put that work in, man. You gotta go get
Learn.
it. See, listen, this is what I tell them.
Serve.
I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals.
Inspire.
I go out and I go get it.
You're in the right place. You're checking out Chip Baker, The Success Chronicles.
If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another episode of the Success Chronicles. And today we are here with my guy, Mike Flynn, and the Impact Mike.
Yeah.
He's a husband, father, CrossFitter, entrepreneur, financial advisor, speaker, purpose evangelist. Okay. And he has the Impact Entrepreneur podcast. And just, in talking with him, off air, it's amazing. It's some good stuff that is very inspirational. And thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles.
Yeah, man. I am honored to be on your platform, your stage today. And just thank you for the invitation to be here. And I look forward to, man, just reaching into people's hearts and minds and boom, drawing out their greatness.
That's it. So talk to us about your life, where you're from, where you're born, up until now. Track that for us.
Yeah. So, I was born in Hinesville, Georgia. I'm an Army brat.
Okay.
My dad was an Army officer stationed at Fort Stewart. But we were from California originally. And my dad got orders to move back to California to Fort Ord in Monterey, California when I was 1. It's now one of those bases that was shut down, and there's a university there now. But so I've lived basically in the Monterey Bay area for my whole life, specifically Santa Cruz, California, where I now run my businesses and my wife and I work together. We have 4 beautiful children, and it's just it's a ridiculously expensive place to live, but it's beautiful. And whenever I go walk out on the beach, I live about 5 miles from the ocean, and so whenever we go out there, it's like, okay, yes, But it's my wife and I have known each other since we were 9 years old. We met at a summer camp, and she was actually guest number 100 on my podcast. So that's a really special episode that just aired a couple weeks ago. And so we are here in Santa Cruz, California, and just working every day to live life with intention.
I love it. Intention and impacting lives. So talk to us about your career as a thing that you're involved in, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So I started out, I never thought so as I mentioned, and you mentioned, I'm a financial advisor and I'm part of our family firm that my dad started after he left the military. And growing up, I swore I would never join the family business.
Yeah.
And, because being the firstborn, I had to go forge my own path and do my own thing. And so I actually thought I was going to be a movie star. And I was actually doing some acting and on stage and doing some musical theater and things of that nature. And I was on that path to getting an agent and pursuing that career. When somebody that didn't have any experience in the industry or any really knowledge or anything about acting or what it takes or anything like that dissuaded me. And it was a person I trusted deeply, and they kind of they dissuaded me from pursuing that career because it was going to be hard and you're going to suffer and you're going to struggle. And yeah, sure, in hindsight, that you're always going to suffer and struggle regardless of whatever you do. It's just a matter of whether it's worth struggling for. So anyway, long story short, I switched paths and I did not pursue that. And I used to be very resentful about that whole thing. But I let that go. I surrendered that because those kinds of things you can't go back and fix. You can either let them be anchors for you, or you can take what was great about them and put them forward in your life. And so I switched degrees and I ended up getting a degree in public relations and business. I thought I was going to go and, be in the PR world and the ad world and tell people stories that way. Right. And so one day I was sitting around a table with some of my colleagues. I was a brand intern at this one PR firm, and I was like, I don't want to be like you or you or you, and I want to have a lot more control over my destiny, and I want to do more than sell ice cream and bleach pens, and so I thought for a moment, like, what can I do where I can have a significantly positive impact in other people's lives?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about my dad. I thought about what my dad did as an advisor, and specifically on the insurance side of things, because one of the main parts of our business is insurance, and the things that he had done for people who really needed that insurance when that insurance showed up when a family friend died, and what that did, I just triggered, like, I'm like, this is a way that I could have a positive impact in other people's lives by helping protect their financial future. And so I joined that business, and it was amazing. Boom, right off the bat, just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2008 came along, and 2009, and I just got crushed by the financial crisis. Just absolutely just hit me like somebody threw me downstairs and then kicked me while I was down on the ground, and then maybe hit me, shoved me into a sleeping bag, and then hit me with the baseball bat, and I didn't think I was going to survive it mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially. We barely pulled out of it financially myself, because I was so new in the business. I didn't have any recurring revenue. Right. And when I started the business, I was in pretty tip-top shape. And by 2010, I was in the worst shape of my life, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And the turning point where I knew that something had to change was I had to bend over to pick up my 1.5-year-old daughter's sippy cup off the ground. She was watching, I was home alone with the kids. She was watching Little Einsteins, and I had to pick up her sippy cup, and my back gave out. And I was literally on the ground. I thought I was in so much pain. I'd never felt pain like this. I thought I was going to have I thought I was having a heart attack or something. I couldn't move. And I was home just with my 2 daughters. And my oldest one, who was 3.5, fortunately was super articulate and advanced for her age. So I said, "Hey, Christiana, can you go get the phone? I need to call mommy." So she goes and gets the phone. I can't get up. I cannot move. And she hands me the phone. I call, no answer. So I'm like, man, so I had to call my mom, who lived 10 minutes away from us, fortunately. And I had to have her come and pick up her 250-pound son off the ground and take him to the urgent care. And, I was just like, this is, something's got to change here. I got to make some changes. And I did. And the first change I made was mental. I decided that I had been chasing all of the wrong things, especially when you think about the financial services industry. And one of the reasons why it's such a despised space is because it's associated with advisors who are all about themselves, chasing their goals, their objectives, the biggest portfolio, the biggest, all of the things that you associate with sales, they're magnified in the financial services world, and in such a way that many people distrust the financial services space. And I was part of that mindset, rewards and promotions and bonuses and all of these things, right? And none of it mattered. Because here's a lesson that I learned later. I didn't know this right away. I knew it kind of in my core, but I didn't know how to articulate it. Everything that you and I own or aspire to own will someday be owned by someone else.
I like it, man.
And so it came to a point for myself where I'm like, you know what? I need to focus on my family, and the way I can focus on my family is by taking care of myself. And if I'm taking care of myself, then I can take care of my wife. And if I can take care of my wife, I can take care of my kids. And if I can take care of my wife and kids, then I can take care of everybody else. And that reframed everything for me and gave me the ability to get back up and to reposition things in the right order. And so the number one criteria for my clients, whether I work with someone or not, and even despite the financial services stuff. So the number one criteria for my relationships, period. Okay. And the reason why you and I are talking today is do I believe that they love someone other than themselves?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where we're at. And so I started that Impact Entrepreneur Show and writing and all of that stuff because people don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And imagine how your life can change when you come in contact with your purpose and you turn that purpose, you unleash your potential to help you fulfill your purpose. The world can change, man. Like the world can change when that stuff happens.
It's a great thing when you become aligned with your assignment.
Absolutely.
Alignment with your assignment.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no greater feeling of fulfillment out of that, when you, and it really drives you. I mean, it motivates you, it gives you the energy to do what you do, every day, because, like you said, you realize it ain't about me.
You know what precedes the alignment and the assignment though?
What's that?
Believing that you are worthy of an assignment to begin with.
Oh, for sure. Yes. I agree with that.
And there's a lot of people that don't believe that. One of my mentors is a guy named Kevin Hall, and he's written a couple of books, but one of the most powerful book that he wrote is called Aspire, Discover Your Life's Purpose Through the Power of Words. And he was sharing with me I guess last year, the meaning of the word believe. And it's a word that's rooted in the Germanic language. And so the second part of the word believe is leave, right? Lieve, and that means love. That part in the German language actually means love. So when you believe in yourself or in others, you love yourself and you love others. In fact, I was just on this summit recently that was for women particularly, but I was honored to be the only male speaker on this summit, on this virtual summit, among 20 other speakers who were all powerful women, talking about purpose and the power of your purpose. And I communicated to the hostess who was asking me these questions. I told her that, you know what, and you could probably agree with me, Chip, that the number one fear that I have as it relates to my relationship with my wife is that she doesn't believe in me.
Ooh.
And that's my fear. So I have to do everything in my power to make sure that we are aligned and that she understands my vision, that I understand her vision, so that we can believe in each other and so that we can be love to each other.
I like that analogy. And the fact that with the leave meaning love.
Yeah.
Man, be love.
Yeah, be love, man.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are 3 things you've accomplished in your life that you're proud of?
I have 4 things.
Okay.
Their names are Christiana, Maeve, Mick, and Charlie.
That's good.
I'm really proud of those 4 kids. I mean, they're all young and have my oldest is 12 and the youngest is 7. Mm-hmm. But I'm incredibly honored to be married to my wife, Lisa, and to be the father to those 4 kids. And so that would, the combination of those 2 things would be one thing that I'm very proud of. Then the next thing that I'm really proud that I've accomplished is my podcast. You know, I've done over 100 episodes, and it takes work, as you know.
Yes.
And it takes commitment. It takes dedication. And there are days where you're like, oh man, I don't want to, you know, or I don't feel like it. Not that you don't want to, but that you're like, I don't feel like it, you know, and yet you push through and you do it because you have a mission, right? That's the willingness to suffer for something. That's passion. Okay. When you are going to do something, even when you don't feel like it. Okay. That's what passion means. And so I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of what I'm creating, and I'm proud of that what I'm curating from that, and the content that's going to come out of these episodes and my conversations. And you know, I'm proud that you know, a couple of years ago I went with my dad and we did this phenomenal like very long hike. It was about a 14-hour hike round trip to Half Dome in Yosemite, which is we hiked to the top of this thing. It's just amazing. And we did that for his 67th birthday. And it was just something I'll never ever forget. And you know, we're getting ready to celebrate his 70th birthday here in a few weeks. So it's just something that, you know, I'm really proud that we made time to do that. You know, can I share with you 3 lies that we tell ourselves?
Sure, please. 3 lies that we tell ourselves.
The first lie is that we have time. The second lie is that we don't have enough time. And the third lie is that we're just like everybody else. And I share those lies with you because it reminded me when I was telling you about this hike that I did with my dad. It reminded me that of these three lies, because the reality is that we make time for what we want, right?
Amen.
There's 168 hours in a 7-day week. Challenge everybody listening to look at their 7-day week and identify how they're spending their minutes, their budget, their 168 hours. And I can pretty much guarantee you that people are wasting a lot of time. Okay. And when you get visibility is an important part of communication, right? And when you get that thing in front of you and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting a ton of time, you're going to get intentional about your dreams and your visions. Because people think I don't have enough time to pursue my visions and my dreams and my extracurricular activities. Baloney.
And you do if it's important to you.
Yes, you can make time.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality, the first lie is that we tell ourselves is that we have time. I can defer that. I'll do that later. No, you do it right now. If you feel called to do something that's going to positively impact other people, you must do it right now.
That's it.
In some way, shape, or form, because nothing is guaranteed. Take nothing for granted. And so you need to do it right now. And it doesn't need to be a big grand thing. It doesn't need to be, you don't need to, to write a book. You just need to talk to somebody. And maybe it's just doing a Facebook Live. Maybe it's starting a free blog and just writing. Maybe it's, calling somebody and telling them that and asking for forgiveness. Maybe it's that, but take action today, and then recognize also that you have enough time throughout the week to fulfill the things that you want to accomplish if you choose to. And then the third thing is that we believe that we're common, right? We believe that we're just like everybody else, and that's a lie. You and I are, as my friend Kevin says, unrepeatable miracles.
Wow.
And
can you repeat that for me?
You and I are unrepeatable miracles.
Mm.
No one will laugh like you. No one will have your smile. No one will have your fingerprints. No one will be like you ever again. The odds of you are 1 in 7 billion. And when you think about that, I just did this Instagram thing the other day. We're magnificent, man. We are magnificent, and we need to believe that we are, and that we're worthy of a why, and that we're worthy of an assignment, and that guess what? Everybody else that you encounter on the street is worthy of the same thing, because they too are an unrepeatable miracle. That guy that cut you off on the highway and gave you the finger, he is an unrepeatable miracle. Okay?
Yeah, that's it.
That bum on the street that's panhandling, you may not like to hear it, but he is an unrepeatable miracle. And at his core, all he wants is love. He might not know it, but all he wants is to be loved.
Yeah, you touched on some stuff that I truly believed in. Growing up, that was something that was taught to us as well. Like I said, growing up in a church, and everybody has value.
Mm-hmm.
uh, you just, like you said, don't take anything for granted. Don't take anybody for granted. I
Hmm.
think, everybody has value. And to me, I've learned that you can learn something from anybody. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter age, older, younger, different,
Hmm.
whatever. You
Yeah.
can learn something from anybody. And
Hmm.
and just like you were saying, with the time, the to get better, it's all a choice.
Yeah. Have you
Like,
ever? Yeah, totally. Have you ever read Man's Search for Meaning?
I haven't read that.
You got to read that book.
Okay.
Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Man, that book is going to blow your mind. He and everybody else should go buy it too. He was a psychiatrist in Austria during the Second World War,
Okay.
and he and his family. He was Jewish, and he and his family, his wife, his pregnant wife, mother and father, were swooped up by the Gestapo and put on a train to a concentration camp. And on the first day of arriving at this concentration camp, his pregnant wife, his mother, and his father were put in one line, and Victor was put in another line. They went to the gas chamber. He went to the working camp. So in one day, within a span of minutes, his entire legacy wiped off the planet because of hatred. And yet, he has the audacity to love in the midst of all of this, and to take this time in this concentration camp to use it as a psychological study of what human beings are capable of.
Mm.
And one of my favorite quotes, and this is going to blow your mind. This is from a guy who lost everything. And 9 months after he gets out of this concentration camp, he writes this manuscript that turned out to be Man's Search for Meaning, in which he said, "The one last human freedom that no one can take from you, regardless of your life circumstance, is the ability to choose your attitude."
So true. So true.
It's all about choice, man. We encounter people every day who want to blame others. It's very safe it's a defense mechanism. There's nothing, you shouldn't get angry at people when they're deflecting and they're trying to blame other people. It's that person's fault we didn't win. It's that person's fault we didn't get that deal, or that relationship fell apart. The question is, how would the story change if we took ownership over our choices in what happened?
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. I think everything boils down to choices.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
and that's one thing that we stress with our athletes, our kids, and make good choices.
Mm-hmm.
Every moment of every day, you can make choices that will either make you better or make you worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to choose those right things.
Mm-hmm. One thing that for your kids, your athletes that you're coaching, really, I would exhort you to encourage them to live their story and not someone else's.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's where when they adopt that, then they can move from admiration into action.
That's it. What's your definition of success?
I use John Maxwell's definition of success, which is knowing that those that I love and respect me.
What do you think it takes to achieve success?
I think it honestly, I think it just comes down to a choice. I don't think that success is not a destination
Right.
that someone arrives at, you know? So like, you know, using the definition that I just shared, that knowing that those that love and respect me, those that I love and respect me. So how do I get there? Well, I've got to serve them, you know, I've got to be present to them. I have to help them realize their full potential. And, you know, when my wife is communicating a problem, I've got to listen to her and not necessarily try to solve that problem. I've got to help her, you know, just listen, you know, and be present. And you know, that's the way that you live out that definition, you know, that you arrive at that destination, that definition of success. It's a process, and it's not something that just happens. You've got to realize and recognize that it's a journey, and that when you stumble and fall, that you have the ability to rise and get back up.
That's it. You have the ability. It's a choice.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to interview with the Success Chronicles. You know, I wish you, you know, continued success and continued impact, you know, that you're having. And thank you guys for watching this episode. And we'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless.
Go get it. Thank you to Best Life Coaching Society for sponsoring this episode of the Success Chronicles. www.bestlifecoachingsociety.com